My name is Alicia Shapiro with AInews.com, and welcome to another episode of our Driving Tomorrow Conversations with Industry Leaders, where we explore the latest developments and newest innovations in the world of artificial intelligence. Today, I'm excited to be speaking with Ben Kruger, Chief Marketing Officer at Event Ticket Center and a former senior e-commerce growth consultant at Google. With the background that bridges big tech and real world experience applying AI and digital marketing for the ticketing space, Ben brings a unique perspective on how AI is reshaping paid media and digital marketing strategy. As platforms evolve and business leaders question the value of traditional advertising, Ben is helping guide that shift, leveraging machine learning, predictive analytics, and real time testing to make marketing smarter, faster, and more personalized. At ETC, his team is pushing the boundaries of what AI powered tools can do while staying grounded in what customers actually want. In today's interview, we'll be exploring whether paid ads are still worth it in 2025 and how marketers should measure success in an AI-driven funnel and what it takes to keep that human touch in a world of automated campaigns. So thank you for joining us today, Ben.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. It's great to have you here. I'm really looking forward to our
Cool.
talk today. Let's start with the big question. Is paid media still worth it in 2025? With so many changes in the platforms and algorithms and consumer trust with AI, how should companies be thinking about the return of investment on paid advertising today?
So the simple answer is yes, it's very much worth it. It is, of course, an investment, and there are a lot of different components that go into that. When I was at Google, I would work with hundreds of brands, and I always found the ones that benefited the most from paid media were those that really understood their unit economics and the finance behind marketing and treating it more like a data driven sort of attempt rather than the more creative brand building type of marketing. So performance marketing, right? Understanding the dollars that you're putting in and how much you're getting back and how much you're actually contributing to your bottom line with it. So yes, it's very much worth it. I wouldn't have a job if it wasn't working.
Yep.
We rely very heavily on it. And I do see organic, whether that's social or content or just more like upper funnel marketing, successful for plenty of brands. It's just a totally different game. And I'd say we're more in the performance realm, and that's where my background is. So that's why if I could spend more on paid media, I always would. Yes.
Well, that's good to know because
Yeah.
I was a little cynical of that. And how have you seen generative and predictive AI change that marketing funnel, especially in terms of how people discover and engage with content?
Sure. I know for us, it's like dramatically changed the way that we've shifted over the years, and it's been a long transformation. Just as technology has improved, we've had to do less and less manually ourselves. Like 10 years ago, we'd be setting, or even less than 10 years ago, we'd be setting how much we're willing to pay for a click on a specific keyword to now we let Google or Meta or any platform totally decide how much to bid and pay for that click.
Okay.
And instead, we tell them how much we want in return for our dollars. So it's shifted like from, I'd say, the top of the funnel, paying for clicks, and now we're essentially paying for conversions or return. The point in where we're setting our objectives and marketing has moved from that first click to the end of the funnel. So it's really shifted that, and we're giving a lot more trust to the platforms than we ever would. And we see it ebbs and flows, but both Google and Meta, I think, continuously get better and better over time. So yeah, we're very reliant on their machine learning and AI for our marketing.
But that seems like it would be beneficial in a way because the top of the funnel clicks, it's not to me as valuable as the conversion bottom of the funnel clicks.
That's right.
So I think that might be more valuable, right? To
Oh,
businesses.
absolutely. Yeah. And all clicks are not equal. And when you're paying a dollar for a click, it could be someone who's looking for VIP seats to Taylor Swift, or it could be someone who's looking for upper deck seats to their local minor league baseball game, right? So
Right.
they're very different values on those clicks. So setting an arbitrary price that you're willing to pay for a click is not the smartest thing to do now that you can say, for every dollar I give you, I want two or three or five back, and you figure out how to get me there. That's how that's what we've shifted to, and it's way more performative and a better return for us.
That's awesome. And in an AI dominated landscape like we're seeing now, how do you define the success for a paid media campaign? And what are the KPIs that actually matter now?
To us, the KPI is that return on our ad spend. I know a lot of marketers and a lot of people on LinkedIn talk about click through rates and hold rates and I don't know, all these things that are secondary metrics and have a place when perhaps when you're comparing like different pieces of content to another, but we judge everything based on the return and the profitability of the given marketing. To me, it's the only thing that matters. Everything else is just noise, especially because in this transfer, like we're telling Google to go after this objective of a X return. I don't care about anything else that's happening. I'll pay $100 for the click if it's going to hit my objective. So we don't focus too much on those things when looking at overall KPIs. We just look at the end result and the performance.
That's an interesting idea. But have you seen your budgets go up because of AI deciding how much to spend on the clicks, or is it actually more efficient?
We're spending more at similar efficiency. So we are generating more profit by doing that, right? So it's allowed us to just drive way more volume and maintain or sometimes beat our efficiency goals. It has certainly helped. I will say that there are cases where, and I think a lot of people rightfully point out that these platforms are greedy, and there are plenty of times when they hit your objective. Okay, let's say you want a 4-to-1 return.
Okay.
It'll drive a 5-to-1 return and then spend as much as it can to get to the 4-to-1 that you initially set. So they have ways to spend your budget, still delivering your goal, but they find ways to burn some of your budget. Of course, they're capitalism, they're trying to make money.
Yeah.
But that would be, I'm sure in the comments, if I didn't say this, there would be a lot of comments about how they are greedy and will spend. So you have to have controls in place and be able to monitor and see where there's wasted spend that you can cut.
Oh, that leads into my next question perfectly. I was going to ask, what's your take on AI powered tools like Meta's Advantage Plus or Google's Performance Max? Are they helping them or boxing them in? And in your experience, do the AI optimized ads perform better than human run campaigns?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I was at Google with the release of PMAX. So I was interfacing with a lot of customers who rightfully had a lot of questions and concerns about using it. It was moving into both ASC PMAX are quite Advantage Plus are quite black box sort of things where you just put money in and you don't get to see where it spent, what search terms or like what people clicked on it and what placements and what channels it was running on. So it's a big shift in like from traditional ad types in those platforms where you would be able to choose exactly where and when you want to show your ad. And I think in the beginning it was very rocky. Performance was either like on par or slightly worse, but it was also during crazy times in the economy, which I feel like now is just the norm. But so there were like so many variables at once that it was hard to really, what is it, the ad platform? Is it the campaign? Is it the economy, etc.? So that was a rocky time, but they've gotten way better. And Google, I know, has done a fantastic job of listening to customer feedback and now has reporting on all of these things that people were looking for. I'd say within the last month, they've rolled out some significant things that have answered a lot of the complaints. Kudos to them for doing that.
Yeah.
Meta just recently is forcing any new campaign type to go through their Advantage Plus.
Yeah.
I know they've beefed up their machine learning with Andromeda modeling. And look, I think it's helpful to the marketer who is unable to generate as much creative as that's needed to succeed, right? If you want to have the key to Meta, at least my understanding, is like creative diversity and creative volume. And it's not feasible for a small company or even a big company to create thousands of pieces of content. They're like generative AI in taking your assets that you put in and creating thousands of variations of it is very helpful and has unlocked a lot of scale that previously was not possible without the resources.
How would you say, or maybe what would you say to marketers who have to report up the chain about their return on investments and asking for maybe more ad dollars because of the way the AI platforms work with the advertising? Is there something you can give marketers to say that would justify spending the ad money on these AI platforms?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The like financial part of me starts to question incrementality.
Okay.
Google's really good, and they're both really good at serving ads to people who are like literally about to buy or already did or don't need an ad to make this purchase.
Okay.
And since they know everything about everyone, they can get the ad into the placement right before someone's about to buy. Because just because you're seeing an amazing ROAS and an amazing return doesn't mean that you even had to spend that dollar. I think that's incrementality has been growing in popularity. I think a lot of people are right to question it. So I think for the marketer who wants to get more budget, I would try to prove that that ad is actually making an incremental impact and not just serving to someone who would have bought anyways. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. I'm a big fan of doing like geo testing where
Mm.
you would just run your ads in, I don't know, 10 different cities, DMAs, or states, and then compare your sales in those markets versus other similar areas. And you can start to tease out, you can start to see the incremental impact of your marketing and decide if you needed to have it or not. So I think that's the biggest key, is not just trust what the platform's telling you. And
Right.
also at the same time, like, customers are interacting with your ads on every platform. So every platform is taking credit for the one sale. So you also need to deduplicate all of it and make sure and like really figure out the customer journey that's happening.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that aspect of it. That's a
Yeah, if you add up, if I pull up Facebook, Google, and any other marketing channel we're using, and I add up all the revenue that they say we drove, it would be 3 times as much as we really did, because they're all just seeing within their silo. They're not right. You need to
yeah.
deduplicate it and figure out who actually gets the credit, and that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. I love that. How does your team approach the experimentation with AI driven campaigns? And what advice would you give to marketers that are trying to stay agile without getting overwhelmed?
Yeah, we have a very, I say, iterative testing approach. We encourage testing. Our CEO is always green lighting new tests. We're very close with our Google team, and we do test a lot of their products and give feedback as well. I think just in our industry is so competitive that we really need to be ahead of the curve. We're competing with, I don't want to say we're a no-name brand, but like Event Ticket Center is a difficult brand to become a household name of, right? It doesn't roll off the tongue, I'd say.
Yeah.
We're competing with really big brands who have invested a lot of money into building their brand and their awareness. So we really need to stay ahead of the curve to compete, and we do, but it's a never-ending game. So I'd say always be willing to test something. Our viewpoint is like, these platforms are changing so rapidly for a reason that, like, if you don't adopt it, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
We're always willing to test something, and if it doesn't work, at least we learn a lot. Like when we test a new thing, like we one make sure that it's like spick and span, like the setup. It's very terrible when you run a test and then you look back and you're like, oh, I didn't click this box, so the test is
Yeah.
null, right? So we make sure that's really accurate and everything's set up right, and then regardless if it wins or loses, like there's always learnings that come out of it. So just be open-minded and willing to test as much as you can.
That's good advice. How do you balance automation and AI with the human touch in your marketing strategy, especially when you're trying to build loyalty with returning customers?
Yeah, it's true. And I think I know me, maybe just because I pay attention to these things, but there are times where I'll see an ad or go to a site and like I'll see that it's an AI generated image, or it's obvious that the text and content is AI generated, and turn off for me. So I think the human touch is really important.
Yeah.
So we, I think, do a good job of keeping people in the loop and reviewing anything that's generated by AI and tweaking it and making it more authentic. And I think that's really important. But at the same time, like for a really small company, you can only do so much. And the benefits maybe outweigh the cons in that case, where you could get so
Mm.
much more done with AI. So I think it goes both ways. But if you have the resources, adding the human touch is really important. And a lot of times the AI is just wrong. You need to review for accuracy and pay attention to those things, because I think it could be a huge turnoff, and you could go maybe viral for the wrong reasons or whatever if you have the wrong
Right.
information. I think it's really important. And I think like brands who find the balance of using it for scale, but also keeping the human touch in it will do really well.
I like that. And with so much hype around AI, what's something you wish more leaders would understand or maybe even ask before just jumping into new tools? And for marketers or business owners who are unsure about even where to start, what's one thing they should focus on right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've noticed with the best people on our team are the ones leveraging AI the best. I feel like it's been an interesting year and a half where when it first came out, I feel like everyone, not just on our team, just everyone around, like in at least in our industry, in the marketing industry, like almost had to hide that they were using it. It was frowned upon, and now it's completely shifted. Where like I want our team to be leveraging it and
Hmm.
using it as much as possible. I know that I do have another monitor here that I just keep up with. I'm just a Chat GPT fan, so I use that. It has all my contacts, but I expect people to be using it, and I want them to use it more. So I think as a leader, I think of how do I get my team to adopt it more, and I try to send example use cases and lead with use a tool of your choice to figure this out instead of spending a bunch of time on it. So I think that's something probably a lot of leaders are thinking about, like how do they get more of their team to adopt it. And I know a lot of like Shopify, Amazon, etc., are expecting their team to use it for everything or as much as they
Yeah.
can, which is awesome to see. And then for people just getting started, I don't know, I think you need that like tipping point where you realize how great it is. So just for personal use, I don't know, I had a leak in my basement and I took pictures and had a half-hour conversation with ChatGPT about what was going on. And then I'm like, okay, this thing can really understand things and help me in a lot of different aspects of my life. So
Yeah.
for those that are reluctant to use it, you just need one mind-blowing use case, and then I think you'll see where it could fill in the gaps everywhere. Maybe not the specific answer you're looking for, but I think you need to fall into the rabbit hole, and then you'll start to find the opportunities yourself.
Yeah. I think that's good advice because that's how I stumbled into it as well. Like I just started playing around with ChatGPT when it first came out. And when I started seeing all the possibilities that it could do for me, I'm like, holy cow, this is really powerful.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I was excited because then I was like, oh, I could use it for this. I could use it for that.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Now it's like my companion, so it's great.
It is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my go to for everything.
Hmm.
What would you say to those who may be afraid of using AI because it could take their job? Have you encountered anything like that?
Yeah, I think my like honest response to that is I think someone who uses AI is going to take your job, not
Yeah,
AI is going to take your job.
I think you're right.
So I think it's foolish to not be leaning in and leveraging it. And yeah, I don't think it's like we have zero intention of replacing anyone with specifically AI, but
Mhm.
we need everyone to be using it, and it will make everyone much more efficient and smarter and scalable. But yeah, I think the that fear is irrational, but someone using it to their benefit will take more jobs, I would think, and be able to do more.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I always love to ask when you do step away from your work, what are some activities or hobbies you're passionate about?
Yeah, I've got two little boys. Spend a bunch of time with them, whether that's just random things around town or whatever they want to do. Honestly, it could be Chuck E. Cheese, it could be going to buy Pokemon cards, whatever it is. Enjoy spending time like that.
Nice. That's
Yes.
great. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. Your insights into how AI is shaping paid media and what marketers need to focus on right now is so incredibly valuable. And I know our audience is going to walk away with a clear understanding of how to navigate this shifting landscape. So I appreciate you coming on and giving us your insights.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Love the conversation. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And for those who want to learn more about Event Ticket Center or to purchase a ticket, you could visit their website at eventticketcenter.com. Stay
Absolutely.
connected to tomorrow. Today, this is Alicia with AInews.com.